Alright, so with this art element, we're talking about three-dimensional form. And with some things in art, for instance, in these examples here, these are sculptures. And so sculptures have to exist in the third dimension for them to exist. It's just kind of part of the nature of the world here. And so obviously we don't really have to go over anything as far as the third dimensional realm as far as sculpture, since it's part and parcel to its being. One thing I did want to kind of mention here is that there is a difference between visual weight and actual weight. And a lot of times the difference is between like an open form versus a closed form. Open forms will tend to have less visual weight than closed forms. For instance, the sculptures in the right look more kind of bulky, and so they would have more of a weighty look to them, whereas the sculpture on the left is kind of this thin, frail figure that we see, and so it would, like I said, be more of an open form and look lighter. But if we were to actually pick up the figure on the left, we would see that it would be pretty heavy to pick up since it's made of a dense material like bronze. Okay, so there can be a difference between visual weight and actual weight here. Alright, so most of what we're going to talk about here with this particular section is three-dimensional form, but in terms of two-dimensional art. Okay, and so if you're a two-dimensional artist, you're working on a flat surface, something that just exists in two dimensions. So how do you create something that looks three-dimensional? Okay, and so this is the example we're going to look at first here, and this shows how an artist would do that. You can see most of this picture looks very three-dimensional here. The one section that doesn't, the one section that looks really flat, is the section of his hand that has not been modeled, has not been drawn in with shading. And so the way the artists here indicate three-dimensional form on a two-dimensional surface is through that interplay of light and dark that we see. And so where the hand hasn't been drawn in, you can see it's very flat, and where everything else is, where the artist has taken special care to look at the way that the light would hit the object in the three-dimensional world, you can see that it gives us that three-dimensional impression. Okay, and so that's the main thing I want you to know for this section, that for two-dimensional art, that third dimension has to be alluded to through the interplay of light and dark. Okay, and so this is a good example of that particular phenomenon. And so is this. This is done in paint, so with color it gives us more of a lifelike effect like we see here. And you can see before the artist has painted in particular sections here, you can see that the structure, the shape that is given is just very flat type of shape, where the shoulders and the hair, you can still see the pencil marks there. Whereas the artist has come in and painted it, it gives us a lot more of that three-dimensional look to it. Okay, so that's that third dimension that is being alluded to, that needs to be alluded to in the two-dimensional world, which is of course drawing and painting, those types of things that we'll get into. All right, so that's it for this section, and we'll see you in the next section soon.